Meeting. We're here for both GPA and GWA. For the record, those present are myself, Commissioner Imtiaco, and Commissioner Martinez. Commissioner Sanchez and Commissioner Santos are both excused. The first order of business is approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair, move to approve the minutes for September 28, 2021.
Okay. Second. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 3 votes. Okay, John, is there anybody public comment? Nobody's signed up? Okay. So John, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. First item I have on the agenda is FY 2022-01 resolution. And again, this is relative to authorizing the management of Guam Power Authority to renew the current property insurance for an additional 1-year period. The property insurance is required by our bond indentures. It is further prudent for us to protect our assets. And again, over the last bid for this occurred in 2018, where we awarded a 3-year contract. That on a base case 3-year contract with 2 options to renew for additional 1-year period each. So the base rate, the current 3-year contract expires November 1st of 2021. Okay. So we're requesting the CCU to approve extension. The first 1-year extension. And again, this is also on the agenda of the PUC. Okay. Because again, November 1st is the deadline. Okay.
So, Commissioners, is there a motion? To approve resolution FY 2022-01. Okay, is there a second? Second. We discussed this in the working session. Are there any other further questions or discussions?
No, Mr. Chair.
No? None? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 3 aye votes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The FY 2022-02, and again, this is to authorize GPA to services for the management, operation, and maintenance of our GPA bulk storage fuel oil facility. As we all know, we have 268,000 barrel storage tank. And over all the years, we've always had some private entity operate and maintain that facility. The current contract expires next year, September 2022. And again, because we do have a process, we have to go out to a bid, go to the PUC for approval, so and so. We need to start the process now because again, this is how we get our fuel from the storage tanks to the power plants on a regular basis. The contract amount is typically between 1 million to 1.5 million per year. And again, right now the contract expires next year, and we want to proceed with the bid. So what we'll do is once we approve, we send it to the PUC for their approval. We go out for bid. We have a recommended awardee. Then we bring that to yourselves and the PUC, and then award it from then. So. Okay.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Mr. Chair, a motion to approve GPA Resolution FY 2022-02, authorizing management of the Guam Power Authority to solicit a contract for the management, operation, and maintenance of GPA's fuel bulk storage facility.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 3 aye votes. John, your last resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution FY 2022-03. And this is relative to authorizing the expenditure to procure 3 new bucket trucks for the, again, T&D distribution. As the Commission is aware over the past several years, we've been purchasing new trucks to renew our fleet that have been 10 to 15, some 20 years old. And so the plan here is to have a fleet of about 25 bucket trucks that are in fairly new shape so that we can do the business at hand, which is typically about 15 to 18 trucks a day. and the balance is really rotational. When we have a storm, we bring in personnel immediately from Saipan or other places so that we can get the recovery much quicker. But if we don't have the bucket trucks, that's delayed by at least a month. So again, Mr. Chair, my authority, procurement authority is $1 million, and the contract is for $1,044,000 for 3 65-foot bucket trucks at the price of $348,000 each. Delivery within 1 year, and then there were 2 bidders. However, only one was the responsive bidder.
Okay. John, just for clarification, because we have a new commissioner, you buy bucket trucks, you've been buying bucket trucks every year, so in the past, like last fiscal year, did you buy bucket trucks?
Yes. In fact, it's being delivered
Yeah, and how many?
Yeah, that's why you see us get approval for bucket trucks in our budget.
Right.
But then we carry it over to the next year because the delivery is over, a
So
year's
how
back.
many did you buy last fiscal year?
I think we bought 3 also.
3? Okay,
Yeah.
and the year before that?
Another 3 or 4.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're buying, you're not buying 9 at one time or 10. We're
About
buying
3 to 4 a year.
a year, roughly. You've been buying like 3 a year, roughly.
That's right.
Okay.
And again, it's good because the model years are changing, so therefore when you retire the oldest ones. You don't try to retire 9 of 2020s in one time. So again, it's being spaced out, no?
Yeah, okay.
And,
No,
so,
I just wanted to, I thought about that when we had a working session. I meant to mention that rather than waiting, 15 years and then buying 20 bucket trucks or
no,
15
we
bucket
didn't,
trucks,
yeah.
you buy 3 every year, and as the other ones get old, you retire them and, or whatever. You put,
So I think, Mr. Chair, it's been about, I can't recall entirely, but it's been about 5 years since we've been doing this now.
Yeah.
But then 1 year we bought the 120 footer.
oh yeah, that's different.
That's 1 unit.
So you only did 1 bucket truck
Yeah,
then?
and that's all we need for the next 15, 20 years,
Yeah.
that 1 unit, no? But
Okay.
then, but because again, we're allocating our budget, so then.
Yeah, no,
we can-
it makes sense to do that, John. Sometimes people will wonder how come you're buying bucket trucks again, and basically there's a rationale for it.
Yep.
And, okay. So this has been moved and seconded already? No, okay.
comment that I really support this, John, I think it's a little risk.
Okay.
This is our business.
Yeah.
So with that, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion then to approve resolution FY 2022-03, authorizing the expenditure to procure the 3 bucket trucks for GPA.
Okay, is there a second? Second? Any further discussion? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. No nay? No nays. There's 3 aye votes, and motion carries.
The next item, Mr. Chair, the GM report, and I did go through the GM report in the last Thursday, and unless there's any other questions on that, we did note that we will provide
I
the,
don't think I've seen that.
there was a request for the CFO to provide the projected year-end
Oh, yeah.
financial information, which Mr. Kim will do now. And then I have one item that just came up across my desk this evening, and that I'd like to just briefly discuss with the commission after Mr. Kim's presentation.
Sure.
Yep.
Mr. Kim?
So following slide is the preliminary numbers for 2021. For the base revenue, our revenue was $158 million. We budgeted $155 million. So we're favored by $3 million.
Okay.
So the revenue's been climbing. As for the for net income, operating income was $42 million. For our budget was $25 million. So we are positive in our earnings. If you look in the following page, it shows the peak. Our demand peak has picked up in 2021. As for the megawatts hours sold. It's about 1.5 gigawatts. So it's relatively flat. There's some fluctuation up and down, but it's pretty smooth. Growth was about 2.1% for 2021. Number of customers has also increased.
Okay.
Every year we're slightly increasing in number of customers.
Very slight.
Yes, very slight.
Okay.
And below are the number of customers. Yeah, that's fine. On debt service coverage, we are at 1.7.
Okay.
We don't have any more capital lease. It's all over.
Okay.
So, but we had some Agreco in the early years. So we still have two ratios. If you look at prior years, 1.2. Debt service. The reason for that is to the audit adjustment for the pension and OPEB.
Yes.
Okay. We don't have control over the pension portion.
Yes, that's based on actuary. We don't really know until the time with the audit.
Until the time of the audit, right? That's when we do that. Okay.
So despite the pandemic, the downfall revenues and all of the different things, the debt service coverage would actually be one of the better ones in the years past. No? 1.7 approximately, preliminary.
And so we're complying with the bond indenture.
Bond indentures.
Bond indenture is 1.3
Okay.
without the capital lease.
Okay.
As for the outstanding bonds, we have about $500 million.
Okay.
The amount is a bit lower than the prior months because in October 1st we pay out
The
the
20.
bond coupons. So we paid about $21.6 million in October 1st.
Okay.
And below is how our debt services per annum. So we see a balloon, it's like it comes flat and goes down every year. So that's why we want to do the refunding, so that we could move the high level and move it toward that.
So
have a levelized debt service payment.
So this is the 285, the 2012 series is the what's up for request for refinancing.
Right.
And again, this will levelize this over long with a debt service reduction of about $15 million estimated as a result of the lower interest rates.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Any questions? No. Okay, John? What else?
This is the last slide. This is for our credit ratings. Even with the pandemics, our credit rating has been firm, and we're in an investment grade. GPS worked hard for the past couple of years to maintain it and also increase it.
then we had a conference call with Fitch this morning, and again, giving them the information, which is positive, I'd say.
And they
So,
reaffirmed our ratings, right? Yeah. Okay.
so they'll be coming up with an updated thing.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions? Or, no? Okay. Thank you. John, you wanted to mention one thing? Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm not sure whether they can put on the press release that was here. You don't have that?
That's the one that just came out? Okay.
Yeah, this is from Senator Regell. And basically, Mr. Chair, it's really looking at trying to kill the Okudu power plant project in a nutshell. No? I'm quite disappointed at this because we've been through this process for several years. We've gone through the commission, the PUC, and everyone. We're trying to let the community know why are we putting on the new power plant. And to put on a new power plant, and we're so close to the financial closing, meaning once they go out, they would get their money, we're going to be putting metal on the ground or concrete on the ground. We're that close, no? And to again put another monkey wrench into this power plant issue, I'm quite concerned. And I think everyone in the community and the leaders of the community need to try to understand what we're trying to do and the need for it. And I'd like to start off with one, to comply with EPA regulations. Remember, we were hundreds of millions of dollars in potential penalties. We've taken care of that with the consent decree, no? But the consent decree requires the new power plant. Secondly, our power system, our generators, the youngest one is 23 years old. The oldest one is 46 years old. Already past his life. So if we continue this route without any additional power plant, guess what? The lights are going to go out. Third, as we can see, the military is coming in with growth. You go around the island and you're going to see all kinds of developments happening. We know that. We see that coming as the load growth over the next 2 or 3 years. And we're fine as long as there's an end game, meaning there is a generator at the end of this process, no? Otherwise, you might as well let you know it's a plan for failure. You better hold a moratorium. You know, and just being perfectly honest with everyone, right? Fourth, there was concern about the rates going up because we're building a new power plant. Well, we're going to show you in a minute that the rates are not going to go up. It's going to go down. Fifth, you're talking about adding more renewables. Go to 100% renewables. Well, you can't go to 100% until you get to 25%, 50%, 75%. And you cannot get to 50% or 100% in 2045 without providing reliable power. So again, this is the whole plan, approved by the CCU, by the PUC, vetted to the public for the past several years, and then we get a press release like this, no? So again, with all due respect to Senator Regell, I wish he would try to work with us and understand, because we have 2 bills before the legislature. One is a refinancing of the $252 million, which will reduce our mortgage or monthly payment by $15 million. That's before that committee, and we asked him to introduce that bill, and he said no. He didn't want to save the people of Guam $15 million a year. Now we ask for an exemption for the 41 megawatt. That's going to help us bring us to the 100% renewables. Help us to keep Okudu power plant on track. Helps them. They cannot go forward with the financial closing unless the 41 megawatt is known to be inclusive of this whole project. No? So potentially, again, it can kill the project. So again, if you're going to kill the project, you might as well know what you're going to lose. And I'm not, a lot of the commission and the leaders understand what we're going to lose. But I'm going to highlight in one page where we're heading. And again, this is something I've been preparing and I've shown to everyone, right? But it's something I'm also preparing for the PUC presentation on Thursday as they had requested. So here it is. Again, I'm sorry, are we missing the top here? Yeah, okay. Anyway, this is based on $100 a barrel fuel. This is about close to where we are today, which is not normal. Typically it would be lower, right? So hopefully as a demand and supply balance out, then that price will start coming down. But here it is in 2019. So this is 2019 numbers. Again, I'm trying to use a more normal period, because production is about 2021 production is right around 2019 now, and then the growth is going to continue to come. So what you're seeing here, and I apologize for this, Mr. Chair, we have the calendar years up here. This is calendar year 2022, 23, 24, and 25. And the reason for that is, again, we're going to be changing to ultra-low sulfur diesel for the PD units. We're going to bring in 0.2% of sulfur for the campus units to clean the environment as we proceed to the new power plant. In 2024, the new power plant will begin generating power. And then 2025, we have a full year with the new power plant, and the renewables are working on a normal basis. So what does that mean? So if you look here, by 2025, we're going to go from a scenario of about 3% renewables to 25% renewables. And again, next, from between now and 2025, we're going to reduce our annual consumption of fuel oil by 1.17, almost 1.2 million barrels a year. That's that's almost 50 million gallons of less imported fuel. As we know, as we import less fuel, there's less cost, more stable economy, less dependent on the energy. So again, if you look here, we're going to be using, again, we're going to go from 2.7 million barrels to 1.5 in 2025. The next item is reduce emissions. You talk about the port area, you talk about PD area. For the past 50, 60 years, we're burning 2 or 3% sulfur. That's all up in the air. How many tons of sulfur do we burn a year? We burn about 13,000 tons of emitted 13,000 tons of sulfur emitted to the air every year. Guess where we're going to be in 2025? 7 tons. So that now complies with the US EPA regulations. And again, this is not going to happen without a new power plant. Next, fuel costs and affordability. We're concerned, look at what's happening today. Fuel prices are going to $100 a barrel. We're racing up to 17 cents a kilowatt hour, which is better than before. But is that the way of life we're going to have? We're tired of that. What are we trying to do? The new power plant with the 25% renewables is going to bring that rate of about 16 cents in 2023 because of all the changes in additional fuel costs to make this happen to about 11 cents in 2025. Add $100 a barrel and 10 cents at $85 a barrel, which is typical. So you're going to do all of these improvements and then reduce your costs and energy reliability improve and sustain. You got a plan that's away from tsunami. So this is the plan that we've been working on. It cannot happen without a new power plant. And unfortunately, there are some still that don't understand this. So I'm saying, I need help. I need the community, and I need the leaders of the PUC and everyone to stand up and explain this. Because there's enough energy to be taken just to construct the power plant. But when we have to keep going back to try and fight issues like this, I'm sorry. So I apologize, Mr. Chair, bear with me, but this is the goal. This is what we're working on. And if this is not what we want, then we need to decide that, right? But when you get a press release from our committee chair of the legislature that controls some of the things that we need to do and gives out press releases like that, I'm quite disappointed and I'm quite concerned. No? So that's my presentation, Mr. Chair.
You want to say something?
Yeah. JB, just a couple of questions on the press release. In Senator Regell's press release, he says that specifically they were unable to obtain a major source permit for the Ukudu site from the US EPA. Is it the fact that they were unable to, or that it would just take a much longer time?
The time it would take longer.
Okay, so it's not that they were unable to it. So his press release is inaccurate. We're saying that they were unable to receive one. But what is the financial consequence of not complying with the EPA regulations and the consent decree?
You're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. No?
So
as we had mentioned and showed, if we didn't do anything, and again, if throwing away the power plant, that's like not doing anything at all. There are penalties which are in the maybe tens of millions if we don't comply with the timelines in the consent decree. But in a nutshell, as we have shown, I think I stopped estimating at $600 million. See?
And what would happen if we had to pay those fees? What would happen to rates?
I don't know. You go off the ceiling.
The ratepayers would have to absorb that, right?
The ratepayers, you pay $600 million. Of course, anything could happen. You try to negotiate. What is $600 million of debt from what we owe now? 20, 30, $40 million a year. So in trying to get something relative to that, you're looking about 20 or $40 million if you can finance that. But then one institution will give you a rating after you not comply, because they're always asking us about the consent decree. How's that going? Everything fits like today, and all the other Standard & Poor's and all of that. So then we're not going to be investment grade anymore. It's going to be junk rate. So that 40 million will increase further, see? So it's really, thank you, Commissioner, you're right on point as to there's so many indirect consequences that I'm not even showing here that will result. And the end result is if we cannot afford the bill we're paying today, then we surely cannot afford what's going to happen if this power plant is not built and we don't continue with the plan that has been put together and will allow sustainability for this island. No?
Okay. Anything else? I have a question.
Yeah, so would you say that the changes that were made in order to pursue the minor source air permit and placing the 41 megawatts outside the Ukudu site and down at Cabras, is that in the best interest of the ratepayer?
Yes, it certainly is. And we brought it to the CCU and we brought it to the PUC. The attorneys looked at it, everyone understood, and it came out, it is in the best interest. And why is that? Because again, you're going to put in a 41 megawatt machine that burns energy, provides you in layman's terms about 12 and a half kilowatts per gallon of fuel. It allows you to retire combustion turbines that have been workhorses that we have, but are quite inefficient. They generate power around 10 kilowatt hours per gallon. So you're going to have fuel savings. In addition to that, there are smaller units that you can punch the button over here and they come on the line quickly to be able. You can't do that with the combustion turbines we have today. So when you have renewables in the future, especially, we're venturing to 25 and to 50. When you start getting above that, how are you going to, when the clouds come over and the load dumps, how are you going to get your energy? So it's a combination of all of this to give us a way forward to make renewables happen, because that's a challenge. If it was just base load units, my gosh, I don't worry at night, But if we start getting into renewables and all of that, we have to go the extra step to make sure that we provide reliable power, because again, it's not just us. We provide power to the whole island community, the military and everyone on this island. So everyone is depending that we make sure that we provide reliable service. And so again, we've laid this plan, we've been vetting this plan for several years, and now, there's some potential to try and move away from this. And again, it's just taking so much energy away from our team that needs to concentrate on getting this power plant on. But you're correct, it's really big impact on rates. You're not going to meet the load growth. Remember, I show you how much reserve we have, but the demand has been going up. It's already up to 58 megawatts. So the military and all this other coming out, we're going to be in the 270s, 280s within the next 2 years or so.
And the other question would be, would GPA have supported Public Law 35-46 with the goal of achieving 100% renewables by 2045 without this power plant? Would you have
We
supported
didn't
that?
really ask EPA you're talking about?
No,
Oh,
I'm saying,
GPA.
would GPA have supported Public Law 35-46 with the goal of obtaining 100% renewables by 2045 without the power plant?
No.
So the premise of supporting it was dependent on the construction of the new power plant.
That's correct. And as I mentioned, the machines we have, and I mean, they serve us for years. They're dump trucks. I need Ferraris now, no? And more, and maybe electric motor Ferraris, no? They are more efficient. These are base loads that carry the load, but when you ask them to accelerate, I'm sorry, you can't. They just don't have that, So that's why we have combined cycle, and again, the combined cycle is based on combustion turbines that react very fast to speed changes and therefore react to renewables much better than internal combustion engines that are base load units, no, or even steam turbines. So again, that was another reason to work with renewables, allow more renewables in the system, bring in more batteries. When the rain occurs, and like the past weeks that we've had lots of rains and periods where there's hardly any renewable generation, the power was there, no? So similarly, this new power plant and its 41 megawatts will be here for the next 20 to 40 years to supply that when it's needed. And you would have paid for it after 20 years. And therefore, your cost will go down again. So what do you have? Much newer machines that will now bring you into the future. So, it's just to me, I couldn't believe that it's such an ideal situation to be, to resolve the island's needs. And so I'm just concerned that, I wanted this to be known up front, and I thought the opportunity of being tonight to address this hopefully will catch on more, that, address the issues at hand. The contract is valid. I'm not a sea lawyer, but we've been procuring and doing all of these things for years, no? The 41 megawatt movement, like you mentioned, Commissioner, it's not that we cannot go for a major source. It's just that the timeline would have delayed and would have resulted in penalties, and to me, it wasn't in the best interest of GPA. Meaning, I don't need 100% combined cycle. I need 70 or 80% capacity factor, which that will give me under a minor source. The standby generators here, we've got better use of them where we can dispatch it if we need it on a reserve basis. Other than that, the cost is, it will allow us to retire older generators, more expensive generators, resulting in savings for the ratepayers. Okay. So,
John, the only thing, are you done, Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay, the only thing I would remind you is something you've always said that you didn't say tonight. And people don't realize is Cabras 1 and 2 are going away.
yes.
No, what I'm saying is that some people out there think, oh, you don't need to do any thing. You've made the statement before, and I just want to remind you to add that to your statements that, Cabras 1 and 2 are on their way out. They're not going to last very much longer. So you need to do this. There's a need to do this. I think there's a misperception out there, maybe among even with Senator Regell, that we have plenty of generation capacity, and it's going to be around for the next 30 years, and it's not. Cabras 1 and 2, I don't think people have been inside. I've been inside that plant. Commissioner Martinez and I recently visited that plant. That plant is on its way out. It has no electronics. It's very old, and I don't think people realize that when those plants go out, you're going to have some serious problems providing power to the island. So I would remind you to add that to your message, okay, as you go out.
Mr. Chair,
That's all.
I commend the team for keeping all these generators running at the way they have. They have really been investing and doing preventive maintenance, and they spend hours in, no?
Yeah.
Even overtime and overtime to overhaul the generators. And believe me, if you haven't seen a steam power plant, come down and see it, because you're talking about thousands of parts, of moving parts and things that could go wrong, no? And they've done very well. They've ran this thing now for 46, 47 years.
Okay.
So what more can you ask of them, no?
Okay.
But you gotta have a solution at the end of this game, and that solution is the new plan.
Okay, I just wanted to remind you
Yep.
that not to forget that one point that you have said in the past. That's all.
Yep.
Okay, Commissioner Martinez, anything? No.
I just want to say, John, you got my support. Let's continue moving. I saw those plan. I saw that 46-year-old plan, and it's going to be very expensive maintaining that in a couple of years. So we need to make changes. That's all it is.
Okay,
So, thank you, Commissioner. I just wanted to bring that because
No
this
problem.
just came on my desk around 5 o'clock, and it's quite a disappointing scenario. And I hope that, again, I ask the community to please try, if you don't, try to understand that
What's at stake?
that one page of paper, which is becoming a reality every day further, no?
okay.
But it's hard enough to build the plan in the midst of all of this and then have to worry about issues like this again. So,
Okay.
with all due respect to Senator Regell, we entirely disagree with him. No?
Okay. Okay, is that it for GPA?
That's it, Mr. Chair. I
Okay.
apologize to my.
No problem. Thank you very much. We move on to GWA now. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Okay, are you ready? Okay, Miguel, the floor is yours.
So, Mr. Chair, we don't have anything to add to the GM report.
Okay.
So we can just.
Go straight to the resolution.
Financial, so we can just go straight to the resolution.
Go straight to the
That's okay with the
resolutions.
board? So first up, we have Resolution 01 FY 2022, and this is relative to creating the Plant Instrument Technician Supervisor position at GWA. Previously, the plant instrument techs have been under the electrician supervisor, and so as we move forward and modernize and increase the number of our facilities that are equipped with SCADA, we need to also increase our capabilities specific to SCADA and the instrument techs, and so the proper supervision is necessary in that position series. So we are seeking the approval to create this position and then subsequently to fill it. But for now, we're just looking to create this position, which is currently lacking.
Okay. Is there a motion
I'll move
to approve?
move to approve resolution FY number 01-FY 2022 for the creation of plant instrument technician supervisory
Okay, is there a second?
supervisor
Second?
position.
Okay, second. Is there any further discussion? No?
Mr. Chair.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries with 3 aye votes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The
Next
next on issue for decision is Resolution 02 FY 2022. And this is seeking approval of a change order for the groundwater production meter replacement project. This project initially was bid with the objective of correcting the piping and flow meter alignment at 60 of our production wells. Because of cost limitations, we awarded the contract with only 30 wells as part of the base bid, but the contract and the procurement was structured to allow for additive bid items in the event that GWA was able to allocate additional funding for this. And so we're at that point now. We've nearly complete with the original 30 wells, and we'd like to issue a change order for the contract to continue with additive bid item 1, which would add an additional 15 wells for these production meter replacements to be constructed. So these are primarily in Agani Heights, Chalampago, Minilao, Dedido, and the Finagadzan area. The change order is at a value of $741,000 and some change, and it did include, as we discussed in the work session, price escalation only for materials due to the fact that costs have increased since the original bid was submitted, and that is allowed under the procurement law, and also under the contract. And so we are seeking approval of this. We do have a time limit on the validity of the change order, so we need to get this executed before November 30th in order to keep that pricing down. And so we're seeking approval for this. The funding source will be from bond funds under PW 0507 and PW miscellaneous 02 bond line items.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve GWA Resolution Number 02-FY2022 relative to the approval of change order number 5 for the groundwater production meter replacement project, GWA project number W19-001-BND.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, nay. Motion carries with 3 aye votes. Okay, Miguel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next issue for decision is Resolution 03, FY 2022. This is, again, another change order that we're seeking approval for, and this is on the Cañada-Totu Loop Road. Specifically, one section or one auxiliary road that ties into the Cañada-Totu Loop Road, where we are replacing old ACP pipe with new PVC pipe in order to avoid frequent breakages. There is one auxiliary road called Tyson Road, which is servicing about 24 homes, and the service laterals on that road are undersized, and we would like to, as long as we're out there doing this work, we'd like to correct those undersized service laterals, put in a properly sized main and a fire hydrant to improve the levels of service for those 24 customers on this auxiliary road. And since we have the contractor out, we requested a change order proposal, which we negotiated and which we found was reasonable. The additional cost for the work is $558,000, and the funding source would be under our 2020 bond funds under the rehabilitation and replacement pipeline items on the bond.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, motion to approve GWA Resolution Number 03-FY2022 relative change order number 2, contract approval for the Tai Road, Roads -13 and Cañada-Totu Loop, Blanc Street water line.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 3 aye votes. Next one, Miguel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The last resolution we have before you tonight is Resolution 04, FY 2022, and this is seeking to approve funding and a contract amount increase for one of our indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity professional project management and construction management services contract. The reason we were asking for this is there are several projects upcoming that we would like to utilize this contract to get going, and they include tank inspection and repair work, which is one of the requirements of the court order. Also, as you know, we've been working really hard to reduce our water losses, and the district metered area program, which resulted from the water loss control analytical study that we recently completed for the PUC. We're in the implementation phase for that right now, and we do need support services to execute that, so that would be a second project. We also have the treatment systems that we need constructed for A23 and A25, the 2 wells that have been offline for years now because of the PFAS issue near the Agana Shopping Center. So that project will need to be constructed, and we intend to use this contract for construction management services. And then also rehabilitation for groundwater wells in the Agana and Dedido and Finnegodson series. So construction management services for that, as well as ongoing CM for our water line replacement projects that we do also need to implement to reduce water losses. So the total amount that we're requesting to increase for this contract in order to take care of these, that amount has been estimated by our engineering department, and we are looking for an additional $2 million to be authorized under this IDIQ contract. So far, the current IDIQ contract, which we're already, I think, a year and a half in, is at 846.
Well, this will be on-
846,000. So this will increase the total contract, authorized contract amount to 2.846 million.
Okay.
And we anticipate that we will be using GWA bond funds, depending on which project is undertaken of the five that I've gone over.
Okay. Okay. Is there a motion?
I'd like to move resolution number 04-FY2022 relative to approving the funding and the contract amount increase for the indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, professional project construction management services to enable execution for the multiple tasks ordered, which it shows on the resolution.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second to the motion. Any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 3 aye votes. And do you have any updates for us? Or if not, we're
No
fine?
further updates,
No further
Mr.
updates?
Chair. If there are any, I believe the one question that was asked at the work session, we did email the response with regard to the compensation levels for the position that was created.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chair, I believe I requested that information and I did receive it. I reviewed it.
Thank you. Okay, motion to adjourn?
I move.
To adjourn? Okay.
Second.
Second? We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen.